Uh, Good morning.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome. I'm Jan Jarminis. Everybody here knows that, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm one of your hosts today. I'm an integrative health and wellness coach and author who works with people and pets to help them overcome health challenges and live healthier lives. And I'm really excited to be joined on stage with my co-host, collaborator, and friend, the amazing, very kind, I always say with all capital letters, Mary Jane McQueen. So, Mary Jane, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I could say the same as you. I'm pretty sure most of the people here know about me already, but since we are recording and we're going to be sharing it, there may be some people that tune in that may not know who I am. So, yes, I am Mary Jane or MJ McQueen, and I have my own creative studio where I help entrepreneurs really step into their light and share their gifts authentically. And really, I help guide clients to overcoming self-doubt and finding their voice so that I can help them co-create visuals that align with their mission. Because as we know, when you connect with your true self, you connect deeply with others. And so that's my part of my mission and vision and what I do. And I just want to welcome everybody for joining us. So um, just as we begin, I wanted to share a little poem or quote by Ines Nin. I apologize if I sort of like made the name bad, but and it's about risk, and that's sort of part about it is part of opportunity in itself. So, and since that's our topic today, so risk. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So let's take this opportunity, haha, to blossom together in community. Jan?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when you sent me that quote yesterday, it's one of my favorite quotes. um, I think many of us here have lived that, where that feeling where we felt like, the cost of remaining who we were was too high. We had to expand out and change. So, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today for Every Moment Matters, finding opportunity everywhere. So, I want to begin with a story, an ancient story from the Bhagavad Gita, which is an ancient Sanskrit, like epic tale. And in the story, Arjuna, who's the warrior, is standing on the battlefield, paralyzed with doubt and hesitation because he's been asked to go to war against basically his own family, cousins, siblings. And he tells his charioteer, who's Lord Krishna, that he does not want to fight. He feels torn and refuses to take action. And Krishna responds to him with wisdom, a deep wisdom, and says, not acting is also an action. This story reminds us that every choice we make or don't make is an opportunity. Even saying no to something isn't the absence of action, it's an intentional decision. And I guess the word is like intentional, right? A way of saying yes to something else. This perspective invites us to see opportunities not as isolated, fleeting moments, but as an ongoing dance of choices and possibilities. Whatever moment you're in, whatever decision lies before you, there is always an opportunity waiting to unfold, whether it's to act, to pause, or to reflect. And so today we'll explore how to recognize and embrace the opportunities present in every moment, even in the quiet or unexpected ones. Let's open ourselves to the idea that saying no to one thing is always a way of saying yes to something else that aligns more deeply with who you are. And as we begin, I invite you to reflect on these things. what opportunities are unfolding for me right now through my actions, my choices, or even my pauses. Let's dive in together and discover how every moment truly matters. Mary Jane?
Yeah, wow. I really love that. It's just I love that perspective of things. It's just like it's like so many situations in life, we have different things happen and a door closes sometimes and we think, well, all my opportunities gone. But really, that's not always the case. I mean, I can only speak from when I was restructured out of my corporate job. It was like it was really disheartening. And I thought, wow, what do I do now? But now, as I know Darlene would attest to because of the self-development we've gone through with Love Your Vibe, it's like I've really learned to flip the script and look at it from a different perspective because I realize now that it was an amazing opportunity to do more of what I love and to serve the people that I choose to serve. And I just, it's all about flipping that script. It's all about changing the perspective of how we look at things. And so even though it might be unexpected or it may be even unwanted at the time, it's taking a different look, taking a look through a different lens that maybe that there is a reason behind an opportunity for us to grow and expand. And so that's just my perspective. So thank you for sharing that. I love that story.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I loved what you shared because I really feel the same. I think when things change or when something happens, we're very quick to kind of respond and react. We don't like that emptiness or that void. Fear comes into the picture that we like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? I need money or this. And I'm so used to that routine. And I can use this audio room or this Zoom now, but was audio room because I've been on audio for probably a year and a half. And I started out with another woman I was collaborating with, Solara Severe. And we did that for about, I don't know, and then I don't know, for a good like 10 months or something. And then she said she wanted to step down. She didn't want to do it anymore. And I did a few on my own and then asked Mary Jane to join a few and then a few more and then a few more. And then I said, do you want to just co-host with me? And yeah, I feel like these get better and better each week, that our friendship, collaboration, and love for each other has just expanded and grown. But that immediate reaction was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do now? And I think as human beings, that's not a place that we feel comfortable in, a lot of us. So we tend to want to fill that space really quickly. And for me, I know it takes a lot of like kind of self-control and almost like I have to consciously not jump into something else, like not react too quickly and to sit there and say, okay, something will come in and I really have to consciously do that because my reactive place is like, oh my gosh, I've got to fill this up. Oh, thank you, Taryn, for the comment. Mary Jane or anyone else who wants to chime in, please feel free.
Oh, go ahead, Tara. Just unmute yourself. It's all good.
Thank you so much. Sure. Thank you, ladies. It's such a powerful start, not just to the conversation, but to the year. And Jen, I'm just like you. I tend to react instead of responding or actually just taking a step back. And that's actually something I'm consciously doing is, do I really need to react or does this moment actually deserve my silence? So that's something when it comes to change or something happening that I can't control, that I'm consciously working on. But there was something that you said earlier about when no action is also an action. And it kind of hit home because if I think about in the past, where firstly, I'm a firm believer that everything that's meant for you will always be for you. It can be like it will you'll never miss what's meant for you, it will reroute. But I sometimes think to myself, if I had rather taken action sooner in certain situations, or taken charge of something sooner, or spoke out sooner, then maybe that situation or that particular moment, things would have wrapped up quite quicker, or things would have been easier. So I've made a conscious decision this year that I'm going to make responsible choices, and I'm going to take action where necessary and be silent. I think I'm very conscious about this year, but I'm busy with my vision board. I don't know if I'm a late bloomer, but I'm busy with my vision board. And for once, I'm putting down what I want to do and the steps that it's going to take to get there. How many smiles am I going to put on other people's faces, and how much am I going to smile this year? Because there is something different this year. Jan, you've heard me say it. There's something, that's why I'm saying let's thrive in 2025. I've got so much love and gratitude in my heart this year. And I think it's because I'm choosing I'm choosing all these moments, these beautiful moments right now as a moment to be in this room with the incredible group of people. And I'm happy, I'm smiling, we're sharing a conversation, we're sharing stories. And I appreciate these moments, and I'm choosing to consciously enjoy more moments like this because I want to fill my own cup so that I can be of service or help to someone else and make them smile, so they can enjoy special moments as well. So I just wanted to share that. And yeah, thank you so much for a beautiful conversation.
I love when you speak, Sharon. It's even when you're even when you I can't see your face, I can hear the smile in your voice. So you definitely have a lot of smiles, a lot to share with the world, and it's a beautiful gift that you have. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Taryn does have this wonderful energy, that smile energy, whether you can see her or not. That visual, so just like an energetic smile that you feel through her voice, which I think is obvious to those who listen to you, that animation, um, and that, I don't know, effervescence, I think is almost a good word. Darlene said she can hear it too. Yeah. And I think that, it doesn't matter your mode of expression. I mean, some people do it via voice. And as Mary Jane and I constantly talk about, it could be in some sort of creative, another creative, venture or outlet that you express that kind of exuberance, that joy. But it's really about spreading that good energy. And I think that we do have to at times pause and sit there and say and realize that, you know, that's why I liked the title of Every Moment Matters, and that like just saying no to an opportunity is saying yes to another opportunity. And what is that? And maybe that opportunity is space or time to reflect, like we were just talking about, and time to pause and see what's next. And maybe it's a conscious opportunity of like, okay, well, I'm making the choice to do this. Like it feels more active, even though taking, like we said in the story, like taking no action is action. And it's really about the intention behind it and the awareness that comes through with it. Mary Jane?
Yeah, it's so true. It's like when you were speaking, it reminded me of um because I know we were talking last week a little bit about, what a word might be that, be a guiding word through the coming year. And and I chose honor. Um we'll say it's spelt the British, Canadian, whatever colonial way, I guess, with the U in it. Um, so, honoring you as in honoring me. Um, it just reminded me of like when you were saying about taking space. I mean, it's sometimes the opportunity to have that space, to allow time for yourself, to honor that in yourself. And it really is key, and that's something as part of my word for the year. That's something that I'm really um really attempting at least to aim in that direction. Because rather than being drained and overwhelmed and de-energized, just to allow the opportunities that feel aligned or feel, I want to say right. I know there's no right or wrong, but feel right in my body, that they are the right things, to go ahead and try them, to go ahead and experience them, explore them, um, but also recognizing when my body is saying no, you need to rest. So that was my that's my key. So just when you were speaking to that ease and grace, allowing that, it just seemed to tie in for sure. But Taryn, please go ahead and unmute.
Thank you, Mary Jane. I just wanted to just add on what you said, and I loved how you emphasized how you feel when it feels right in your body. That is such an important indication of when something's for you. But what I actually wanted to add is choose the opportunities that are for you, that feel right for you, and not because somebody in your immediate circle, somebody else says, I think you should do this, this is right for you. Then you end up going for the opportunity, which I did, and it wasn't for me. When I knew everything in me, it wasn't for me, but because a family member said, go for it, it's for you, and I didn't want to be judged or anything, I did it and I was unhappy. So I think being conscious that it's okay to say, thank you, I appreciate it, but it's not for me. Or, do research and explore. And if it's not for you, then just with gratitude, thank you so much, but this opportunity isn't for me. Can I help you find opportunity for someone else? Do what's right for you. Trust your intuition. It is never wrong. And our bodies always know when something's not right.
Absolutely. I mean, this is like my language, since I spend a lot of time talking to people about feeling things and their bodies. And I actually just wrote something that I'll put out next week for a post, because I was having a conversation about how something feels in your body and even how we show up in our body, like our posture and our stance, and how we like our how we, even if no one can see us, there is this element of sitting up nice and tall or whatever, or standing upright, and or if you need to rest, but is showing up in your body as your body needs to be. And that is a practice. I think that my first question every morning when I'm in bed, I'm opening my eyes, is really like, how do I feel today and what do I need? Those are the two questions I ask myself every morning. Because we change, we evolve, things happen. Like Mary Jane and I were on earlier, and we were talking about the fact that neither of us got the greatest night's sleep last night, and whether we want to or not, that happened, right? And we have to honor, there's your word, Mary Jane, we have to honor that. But for me, I think my word, and which kind of speaks to opportunity, like my words this year, which are basically, it's shine bright, but it's to show up. Like in every circumstance, like in the circumstances I'm in, whether like I'm with people or not, is to show up as the best at that time, the best, meaning the most aligned. And that is a feeling thing, the most aligned version of myself. And sometimes that alignment doesn't look pretty, right? Sometimes that's like, I've got to rest and be in my pajamas. But sometimes it's like, trying to show up the best version I can be. And then I think with that and with that honor, there's also that element of, and to what Taryn spoke about was that opportunity, is that kind of compassion part for yourself, of just allowing yourself to nurture yourself or to heal or to take time if that's what you need. I think we've all come from a world where, for one reason or another, we felt like we were not allowed to do that. We had to show up and we had to suck it up kind of attitude, whether we felt like it or not. We had to, put on a happy face or go out in the world and pretend everything was okay when we really didn't feel okay. And we weren't okay. Mary Jane, you unmuted.
Yes. I'm just waiting. It's okay. Finish
Oh,
your
no,
thought.
no, 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 no. I'm finished. Now I'm ready to hear you. I like hearing
No,
other
I was
people.
just thinking about, how you remember when we, a few months ago when we did, we talked about letting go of the masks that we wear,
Mhm.
those things that we put on because that's what other people expect of us and are waiting for us to do. But now it's just really about recognizing that we have the opportunity to just let those things go and just be who we authentically are. And, the people that are our people are going to surround us and be part of our community. And those that don't resonate with that or feel like you should be still wearing the mask, they're the ones that are going to be moved into like an outer circle of your influence because you need to surround yourself with the people that are really gonna uh, float your boat or light your day or however you want to term it. That's really what it's about. Darlene, you had something to add?
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, MJ. I just thought I might as well raise my hand before I chickened out. I have so many things in my mind right now, but you all bring such good points, and my mind is almost like a flutter with so many pieces that resonate for me. But one in particular, my word for this year, I chose voice. And I find it interesting when we talked about the body and how we hold things, we store things. I was actually quite sick over Christmas for the 2 weeks with a sinus infection, and it was all in my throat, my sinuses. And as I was in pain and lying there and pondering and breathing and thinking, I was thinking, I have so stifled my voice in the last year or so, but in my lifetime as well too. And I didn't want to do that anymore. And I was wondering, is this an opportunity for me to clear all that's sitting there that I have just shoved down and shoved down and shoved down and not let my voice be heard, not aligned with where my heart sits. And funny enough, we are 10 days into the new year, and already in the last, well, this week, because we're Friday, so this work week, I have authentically shared my voice in a number of different forums where you throw caution to the wind and you just put that piece out there, or you just send that text or email because you just feel it in your soul that this is something that you need to do. And I've had more conversations, more beautiful conversations, even being here, finding myself here. I just feel like, oh my goodness, I've adopted this idea of, instead of reacting to things, really allowing myself and honoring, I love that word, MJ, honoring myself, to take a moment to, when things are happening, to not be reactive, to actually say, that's so curious. Why, it's not something that's happening like we hear in the Love Your Vibe transformation, right? That something's happening for me, not to me. And I actually had a moment this week where something came up, and it was an opportunity that I was kind of ho-humming about, didn't feel right in my body, didn't feel right in my I felt my throat actually closing up because I didn't know how to answer. And taking a couple moments and honoring that opportunity to just sit in stillness and think, is this the right opportunity for me? And it wasn't. And I shared my voice authentically, didn't give excuses, just said, thanks so much for the opportunity, but it really does not feel right for me right now. And I have to step back. And I think there's such power in that. And everything that everybody has said so far, it just sits so beautifully in my heart. And I thank you for all your reflections, because it's just, I feel gratitude, so much gratitude for everything that you've all shared, and it's so inspiring because we forget sometimes, right?
I just have to say, and then I'll, Matthew, please. I get it. And I think that that's why these conversations are so powerful, because we do forget. All of a sudden we'll say something. It's like, I'll be honest, when I teach, And I always share Dharma when I teach a yoga class. I usually have something that I say or whatever. And usually I'm speaking to myself. It's like I'm saying what I need to hear out loud. And every now and then when my students will come up to me afterwards or something and say, wow, that was really great. I really needed to hear that today. And it's so funny and how wise it was. And or I say something and I'm like, did I just really say that? Did that really come out of my mouth? But it's so true that, we are in these rooms and even when we write and we kind of let go of what our ideas or our thoughts of what we should be doing or what we think is right. And we write more from where? The heart. All of a sudden we read or we write or we pay whatever we're doing, there is this element that comes out that's truly us. And so, Matthew, please, and then Divine.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, and we took your word, which was opportunity.
Yeah, that actually kind of brought something up for me. I don't know if you guys noticed LinkedIn becoming kind of more like social media than B2B. I mean, it has been transforming since Microsoft bought it. But it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. I mentioned about non-toxic. I think we talked about this before. I got a message from a guy, an investment person in Dubai. He requested a connection. Then he sent me a message a day or two ago, and he sent me another message saying, "Did I say something wrong?" And I thought, right, he's going to get removed. So it's just around, is there really opportunity on LinkedIn anymore? Or should we just be talking to people locally, if that's the topic of the conversation, I guess?
Interesting point. I mean, I think I get approached like that, Matthew, like on a daily basis, at least once. Not investment people, but other types of business people. And usually I write back and I say, if you're interested in getting to know me, I'm glad to have a conversation. But basically, I only do business with people I know and who have taken the time to get to know me. And then because it bothers me immensely, it's like, who are you? Like, why would I want to support, financially invest in your services unless, I know who you are and I know what you do and you've taken the time to actually see where I'm at. Like if I'm going to use a graphic artist, I'm going to call him Mary Jane because she's very intent. I mean, yes, I do know her, but even when I first met her and I just asked her to do some work for me, it was very conscious because she really took the time to get to know me and what I wanted. And I got that, you have this feeling of being a valued person, a valued individual. When I work with people, with my clients, I take a lot of time getting to know them and listen to them. And the impression you give me, and when you get approached like that, is someone hasn't taken the time to listen to you, to get to know you. And I agree with you I think LinkedIn does still have value, but I think there are a lot of people out there now, I find, that are approaching me in that way too. Mary Jane, and then we'll move to Divine if she still wants to, share. Mary Jane?
Sorry. I guess it helps if I actually unmute, right?
Oh, okay. For a minute, I thought my guy was when I thought my guy was acting up.
No. No.
Okay, that's cool.
No, it's so true. Yeah, it's true what you're saying, Matthew, and Jan as well. It's just, yeah, really listening, taking the opportunity to listen to yourself when somebody approaches like that, and when again, it's for me, it's like that body reaction where I kind of go, no. So I can fully understand that, but I'm so glad that I took the opportunity um, to connect with a bunch of the people that are in this room today. Um, but it didn't have that sense of, you know, I think there's a mentor that I know that calls it icky sales. So yeah, that those are not the opportunities for me for sure. But anyway, Divine, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Good to be here. Hello, everybody.
Welcome, Divine.
Uh, what's come up for me is a couple things, but I will say integrity. Integrity was a big one because I remember a couple months ago, somebody asked me to join their online virtual seminar, or was it a seminar? It was a something. I was supposed to join it and be a part of a group and a collective sharing information, and and I really wanted to do it, but my integrity wouldn't allow me to do it because the person that asked me to join it, I have supported her several times, and she never really supports my posts. She never really comes into my rooms, and I'm just like, okay, these one-sided situationships, connections, my integrity is just like, we cannot do this anymore. And I said, okay. But my ego was like, there's an opportunity for other people to get to see you and get to know you and understand your work. And so sometimes we battle back and forth with the ego and our integrity. And my integrity overrided the ego. But it took me a few days to sit with it, to feel it out. And I just trusted my intuition. I trusted my integrity because our integrity comes from our intuition. It comes from our internal knowing, our internal process. And sometimes it takes me a while to process things, and I think that we have to be okay with that. A lot of times we want to rush to respond or to connect with certain people or to do certain things. And, so yeah, but acceptance has been a big thing for me these past few days. And I've been angry. Yes. I've been feeling all the emotions. I'm very sensitive. I'm an empath. For those of you that don't know me personally on LinkedIn as Divine Maxine, but I'm very sensitive. I'm an empath, psychically in tuned, but also emotionally in tuned. And all of my senses are very flared off to the point, right? And my body is also very sensitive. So every ache and pain, everything that I can feel at all. And I do not like pain. I do not like to feel like I'm insecure or unstable within my foundation. I'm a single mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I haven't been making money, right? So finding other senses of like finding other securities within me, accepting where I am right now, finding ways that I can heal or, be okay with the changes that I'm going through with my health and be okay with, being in survival mode, but at the same time, being at peace and knowing that I have to trust in the unknown right now, right? That's the biggest thing. I feel like humanity has the biggest wound of a trust wound, not trusting self, not trusting in the unknown, because it's really not about trusting others. It's about trusting our own integrity and trusting ourselves and becoming in alignment with those people and those, things that happen for you or supposed to happen for you when they're supposed to. But it's really about being still and trusting and accepting where you are and finding ways to nurture yourself and allowing people to pour into you. People who have been reaching out to me, Jan, Mary Jan, appreciate you guys. And really, embracing those connections, the people who support you, because I've always been the one supporting other people all the time. And this is my time, right? This is where the coin has flipped or the pendulum has flipped in my favor for me to be supported, for me to get the healing, for me to get the love, the nourishment, from multiple sources and be open to that. So just accepting where I am right now and being fully open and learning how to trust this process. Whew. Did I say all that? Yes, I did. All right, I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, you did. You said all that. So first of all, Divine, I have to, as you know, our hearts are with you and we love you. So I think we all go through those times. So I think it's important that we voice them to Darlene's word for the year, because the biggest comfort we have, I think, as human beings is sometimes to realize we're not alone and to realize that, I've been there and and so we love to, and I don't want to say we love to hear it, but I think it does make us feel better to know that, other people have shared a similar journey and been on a similar path. And, and life is life. So it does happen. And one of the things you mentioned, and I wanted to speak to, was this idea of, sometimes, communication is key. And that's why I love Darlene's word of voice and her like sharing that she had to sit there and put up that boundary, or it's communicating to that other party, let's say, why you're not participating, that you feel, depending on the situation, that you feel it's one-sided and that you're happy to contribute, but you're expecting is to voice that. And you might have done that, but I'm just commenting from my own experience. And I'm not necessarily, to me, I'm always a work in progress. So, is like my ability to voice something and to actually say what's going on. Like I had this really simple thing the other day. Was I have a client who I usually see on Mondays who contacted me on Sunday to tell me that she couldn't meet. And so sometimes if we don't meet on Monday, we meet on Thursday. So she said to me, I said, well, how's Thursday? And she said, well, it should be okay. Now that term, that should be okay, is not an affirmative yes to me. Like if we're going to meet, it's like Thursday's good. And so I wrote her back later and I said, are we meeting Thursday? And she said, I said it should be fine. And she got a little bit upset. So yesterday when I saw her, I just clarified. I said, I just want you to know that when you say that, it sounds a little bit like wavering to me. And so you're not sure. And so and she started to laugh. But I don't think she understood that, some of it's time, so much of the time, it's like how we choose our words and how, to me, I'm a very tend to be analytical. I come from a very strong science background. So it's very much like, okay, yes or no. Are we meeting? Yes. Okay. Yes, I get yes. But don't tell me like should or, well, we could, because that to me means like, well, we could and we could not, so yes. Yes, go ahead.
I love that you were honest about that because I do pick that up on you. I do pick up like the very analytical side, very logical side about you, but it's a beautiful thing and it helps balance me out because I'm more right brain and I'm more my feminine, right? And I just want to say that communication is a big thing. And like you said, like communicating, right? And there has been times where I wasn't sure, but I looked on my calendar and yeah, Thursday would be good according to my calendar. But Thursday could shift according to my energy. Something could happen, right? So I would like to tell people that yes, Thursday looks good. If something changes, I will let you know. And some people just don't know how to communicate that way, but that's another way that I had to discover about myself. Yeah, because we don't want iffy energy. Because if somebody's like, oh, I think or I should, or I think this would be good, and you're like, are we still connected here? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, communication is a big thing, a big scale. And I think that we need to be honest with ourselves and be honest with each other first and foremost, because there may be a deeper meaning to that. I'm always about getting into the root, getting to the deeper meaning of beyond what the surface is. Even what we say can be surface, right? So we always can fill out somebody's energy by their words, their choosing. And I feel like that if we really want to keep a connection, we will choose our words wisely. So yeah, let me end it there.
So I want to
I
hear from Zara. Oh, Matthew, go ahead.
I have something just to add there. It just occurred to me. I had a communication from somebody that was supposed to be a clarification, but it had two question marks after it. And I sent back the equally unclear with the two question marks. He sent from an Android to my iPhone, but he actually put two emojis
Oh,
that weren't recognized by Apple. And I
mhm.
thought he was being smart. Right? But, I just have one thing. It's kind of a question, I guess. I had two webinars with this person, and he didn't turn up for two of them and kept on, getting pushed out. And the third one was yesterday, and he was 10 minutes late. And I said, yeah, whatever. So there ended up becoming an opportunity from that conversation because this person was just so busy because of work and people being out sick and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering, like, how patient do you need to be with somebody before there's a possibility that getting pissed off might lose you an opportunity? Just a question. I know it's a bit open-ended, but
No, I actually love that question because I think it's a very challenging question of like how patient or how much time do you give someone and to get back to you, to come up with an answer. Doing a lot of outreach for people and looking into a lot of things for people. To me, I would much prefer like a response of like, I'm thinking about it or I haven't decided rather than no answer at all. Like just be upfront and honest to me. Like if you don't know, you don't know. Like, that's fine. But it's the kind of like the emptiness of like not knowing, which is really, I think, for me, that's a challenging place to be. Like if I approach somebody on something about like something that I can help them with, it's like, oh, okay, like that's great. But just get back to me and say, well, I'm thinking about it, or I don't have the money right now, or I'm doing something else. And when that's done, and it is kind of like this really interesting kind of thing of also like if you do offer more, like in between, let's say they haven't made that decision, like more information or more tips or more whatever, is how much do you give away for free where it doesn't feel like you're being taken advantage of? So that's another question. I think that comes from your question, Matthew. So Zara, welcome.
Good afternoon, Jan, and I'd like to sort of formally apologize for being late. So, yeah, I said I was coming and I really wanted to attend the session and it was on my radar. And then I thought, God, I haven't even had breakfast yet. It's been a bit of a crazy night last night, trying to get to the bottom of my son's sleep deprivation or what he's been doing or why he's been doing it. And I understand that he has a very high internal pressure, which is something that I think a lot of parents could do with knowing about, as opposed to forcing kids to do things against their will. When he decides on something, good luck trying to get him to change his mind about it. It can actually break you. And I just thought I have to eat something before I turn up. Otherwise I'll be hungry or hangry. But yet, going back to the question of like how much to give people patience and space. I also had that issue with a few people that I've been coaching, and what I realized was that they weren't very forthcoming about what was actually going on, and the real cause of why their child was presenting challenging was because of a controlling husband, which they didn't really have much power over. So, in after analyzing the situation, I thought, actually, this person's not right for the program. And luckily, I hadn't charged her. So I just left her a message and I said, do you think it's right for me to give up my time and my energy when you just want to vent? Because that's what it was really boiling down to, whether it was in DMs or whether or not it was every time she came to a workshop. I didn't see her actually learning anything. It was just her just venting the whole time. Then I discovered she's actually volunteered her services to somebody else. And she'd been trying to teach somebody something for free, and she got hijacked by an NGO, and now he's promoted you to be a director of something. And I thought, hang on, this is a time I'm going to draw my boundary and let her know she's not appropriate for the program. Because one, we have limited space. Two, I need to focus on the people who really are in a capacity to learn this and get to the bottom of it, and not just actually turn up and waste my time and everyone else's time. But, we need to be in a community of people that want to learn from each other. So I had to let her go. Now imagine I charged her up front. That could have been quite complicated. So I'm quite lucky I take this approach, and I just allow people like 3 or 4 sessions to see how it pans out. And if they're passionate enough about it, I will see them somewhere doing something that's making a difference in line with what we're doing, rather than what they want to do and just take, because they found an opportunity that's there for other people to just turn up. I don't know if that makes sense, Matthew, does it?
No, I mean, I think it makes sense. And I think it, it's all about what we feel comfortable with in our specific situations, of what, we feel we can offer and what they're going to receive, and knowing when to step down and back. Like I was actually, sort of like, it was in a different venue because it was in person, but I was, let's say, a moderator for a grief group, of twins who had lost a twin. Okay. And I did that for like a year, where I would meet with them. I was one of 2 people who would meet with them. I think it was almost monthly or maybe every few weeks. And after a point, I couldn't do it anymore. And some of that was burnout for me. It seemed like we weren't moving anywhere. And every time we got together, it was just a rehashing and a retelling of the story. Like that's all we did. And everybody would go around, and I would leave the room, and I would be so like depressed for days, or so saddened with all the stories. And finally, I just had to step back and say, I don't see it going anywhere, and this isn't really healthy for me. Because I am really sensitive. I am a very analytical, scientific, geeky, like woo-woo person. So it was definitely affecting my energy. So I had to like step back and say, this isn't healthy for me. Like I can't be around this for an extended period of time. Had it been moving in a different direction, like now I've worked with a number of people on grief and loss, and I actually do quite a bit of coaching in that realm. So it's a little different, and I'm coming from a different space. But at that time, and sometimes it's pure timing, like it's just not the right time for something. And that's, comes from our opportunities of like sitting there and saying, oh, okay, well, now is really not the right time. Like it sounds good. And whether that time is like an emotional thing or whether it's a financial situation, but it's obviously not the right time, because if it was the right time, it would feel right and I would be doing it.
Yeah, I love that, Jan. I mean, I tend to just do, I share a couple of links to how to handle grief. And I encourage people to do their storytelling in a group where people can handle it. And often it's understanding people's intangible drivers, really, because some people bear pain, and other people, like I said, have a higher internal pressure who can handle it. So it's putting the people in the right roles. And this is one of the good things that's come out of it. I can quickly identify like who would get benefit from being in that role versus someone who would get depleted. Now, this person I'd identified as someone who could teach what we were teaching. However, she hadn't been 100% honest about her situation. So it was just allowing her to gradually feel comfortable, to let me know where she was in her space in life. And then I had to make that decision that even though she's appropriate for the role, like you say, she's not in the right space time-wise, and she doesn't have the right support in place. So I encouraged her to find more support groups in her local vicinity. And it turns out that now she's struck up a relationship with her neighbor. And I think that's what she really needed, and why she had to come to somebody like me in UK to discover that she needed to really speak to her neighbor kind of is beyond me. But sometimes I guess people, when they're stuck in a situation, they just can't see the woods from the trees. So I'm glad that I was managed, I still managed to help her in a small way. But yeah, boundaries, understanding that not everyone's in the right space right now, even though they might be right for the role, I think is a big lesson I learned from that. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, thank you. And I think the other thing is like, is being able to look at people for, where they are, as much as we can, you're not the person, but I think is being able to honor where, like, back to Mary Jane's word again, to honor people where they're at and not judge. I've spoken about many times. I mean, this many times. One of my first yoga teachers said, remember that when someone stands before you, sits before you, speaks before you, whatever it is before you, they stand before you with their entire life. And I remember, first of all, when she said it, I was like, whoa, like I had never thought about it that way, because we only see one part of them. And I really have, I really try to practice non-judgment now. If somebody, like, I go somewhere and someone's nasty, I'm like, okay, I have no idea what happened before they like they were standing in front of me and they were nasty, or whatever it was. Like, I really don't know. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on in people's lives. And I think we're so quick to kind of not understand why they didn't take advantage. But that's not where they are, and that's not what they want, unless they decide to share it. And like you said, if somebody's not going to be vulnerable, then we can't do, we just have to step back and say, now is not the right time. Mary Jane, I really would love to hear from you, and then we can go back to Zara.
Yeah, I was just gonna share that I thought, Zara, and sometimes we don't always understand the opportunities we've been given, because I feel that you were given an opportunity as much as she was given an opportunity to be given perspective as to her next steps. And that's really what it's about. And the fact that you were able to um, guide her in a sense to in the direction. And now that she's reconnected with has connected with her neighbor, you actually did afford her the opportunity of finding healing and a space to grow. So kudos to you, because I think that's it's all about seeing it from, the whatever perspective. And as Jan was sharing, it's true. We don't know the person in front of us, what they're coming from, what the experience was they had just before they connected with us. Does that give them an excuse to be nasty or whatever it is that they are? No, but at the same time, for those of us that choose to look at it from a different perspective, is like we understand, because perhaps we were that person in front of somebody else another day. Um, and just really, bringing all of us, and I love that, Jan, how you were saying that about everybody stands before you with their story of what they, the things that they've come with. So I love that. I love that a lot.
Oh, thank you, Mary Jane. And I love what you said, is that was us on a different day.
Mhm.
And I think that that's really, really powerful, because it's so true, right? Like I spoke about with Divine going through whatever she's going through right now. We've all been there. And so I think if we can go into it with that kind of attitude, maybe not that exact experience.
Compassion.
but compassion and knowing that at some point or another, we've been there. Like we've had a similar experience. We've had those similar feelings. Taryn and I are working on something together right now. And that's really about what we've learned, is that through everybody else that's in our group, is that, maybe the details of the experiences were slightly different, but the actual, what we learned and the whole process and all the messaging that we're talking about in regard to what happened and our kind of perspective on it and our reflection is really all the same, and the emotions that we shared. So, it doesn't really matter where you're from, like in this room, I know that Zara's in England, Matthew's in Ireland, Jane and, Darlene are from Canada, and Taryn's in South Africa, Divine and I are from the US. And Sonia, I'm not quite sure where you're from, where you're residing now. And, we all come, but we all share something so powerful, and we all have shared similar stories, right? Or similar experiences. Oh, you're in Montreal. So another Canadian.
Yay.
We have a strong Canadian presence today. Love it.
I love that, and I just wanted to say to thank everyone for sharing their voices here this morning, this afternoon, whatever, wherever you are. I guess afternoon for some, morning for the rest of us. But yeah, so I don't know if anybody has some last thoughts they wanted to share, but and then perhaps Jan, if you want me to share the poem and if you want to do the meditation, we can.
Absolutely. That sounds perfect. Oh, good. Sonia's going to chime in.
Yay, Sonia.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really want to. I am on LinkedIn maybe for one year, and this event with you, Jane and Mary, I attended about 2 months ago. It was about science in nature, and I was completely amazed with the space of love and how people were sharing and how you were acknowledging everyone. And I thought, well, this is something exactly I'm looking for. This is what I like. This is what I want. And today, again, I feel I resonate with everyone, with all the ideas here, all the words for the year that you have. My word would be healing for this year, and all the communication, that voice and integrity. It's so beautiful, and so I just want to. This is exactly space where I love to be. I want to be, and I thank you all for giving me this opportunity, giving us all this opportunity.
Well, thank you for that. That's really beautiful, and thank you so much for taking a leap at the opportunity to join us here. And yes, we all here wish healing for you too this year in whatever capacity whatever that means for you. Let it be an opportunity for you to grow. And you're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to add, because Jen mentioned that she asked every morning what she needs. And you probably give it to yourself, because we find ourselves in situations that we feel people don't understand us, or we don't get what exactly we need at that moment. So we need to feel, and we need to feed ourselves with this. This is basically all imagination, and we need to nurture ourselves. And this is, I think, Jen, you are doing the right thing. And I love that you are doing yoga, because for me, yoga is essential. I do yoga every day. And when I find myself, I'm in a turbulence, or, not feeling good, I feel like the energies are attacking me, I just sit down and I calm myself, and I put myself in the present time, which is the best space to be, the present time. So yeah, and I'm happy to be here, because I feel I am in the present time with you all here right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to be videoed. I appreciate that. When I said I wrote for next week, and to me, the title was Yoga is a Conversation I Have with Myself. And that's really the way I've always looked at it. It's that pause, that time for me to reflect. It's usually quiet because there's no one else. I don't usually play music. Even when I teach, I don't play music, and have not. Because there was something about the silence and the pause of being in silence in a world that's very loud in general, and whether that's communication with my body or communication with the parts of myself, sometimes I would choose to not spend time with, let's just put it that way. Because, there are times when the last person I really want to be with is with me. But to another thing you said, Sonia, and that is, that ability that people I think we assume that people understand us. And it is a very wrong assumption. No one understands us like we understand ourselves. And expecting, I was in that space for a very long time. It's like, oh my gosh, they love me. They should understand me, or they should know what I need. And then realizing that unless I communicated that, no one really knew what I needed or understood me exactly. And it took me a long time, and I learned a lot. I love the podcast on being with Krista Tippett. I've spoken about her a number of times. It's a really wonderful podcast channel, and she's been around for probably 20 or 30 years, Krista. And she had an interview with a guy named 𝙀𝙤𝙢𝙀𝙀𝙀 and who wrote a New York Times op-ed piece. I think it was the most read op-ed piece that year. And it was How You Will Marry the Wrong Person. It was actually quite funny. And so, but she talks about communication and that expectation that people know what we need. And we assume people know what they need. And he said that if a client or somebody comes to him and they've met somebody and they say, oh, they totally understand me, he's like, the warning signs go off. It's like these little radars go off that say danger, 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 because he's like, they go in with this expectation of that person totally gets me, when really no one gets you. They resonate with you. You have the energy kind of connection, but they know you from being with you. And so, we do really want to move into the poem and the meditation. But Zara, did you have something to quickly share?
I don't know about quickly share, but I think the reason I met that lady now was to let her know about someone I encountered about over 4 years ago with a split personality, which almost ruined me and my marriage. So it was letting her know that if she wants to allow her husband to continue along this line, potentially that could be the outcome. And I'd like her to think about what her son one day is going to do to another lady that he meets, because my alarm bells went off. Now, this person I met 4 years ago, it got to the point, I don't know if you guys believe in universal entanglement, but he rose out to 14,000 to the point that I felt it. If he even sent me a DM, it would wake me up. So I knew I was there to help him. And I did end up helping him to the point where his brain got remapped. We undid most of his post-traumatic, and he's now left that toxic environment he was in. Not that he really thanked me for it in a big way, but maybe he came to bring me those lessons about boundaries. There's always a lesson somewhere, so I don't regret it. But thank you.
Absolutely. There's always a lesson. Just like there's an opportunity. There's always an opportunity basically to learn. So, Mary Jane?
Yeah, it's what a powerful conversation today, as they always are, but I don't know. It's been really powerful today for some reason, connected with me. And it's funny as I'm looking at the poem that I'm going to share with you all. It was because Darlene mentioned that her word for the year was voice. And this really speaks to that. And I know she does a lot of work with breath work and things like that as well. So perhaps there will be some resonance there for her as well. But hopefully, you all will get something from it as well. It is a poem by Mark Nepo. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. And it's called Yes, We Can Talk. Having loved enough and lost enough, I am no longer searching, just opening. No longer trying to make sense of pain, but trying to be a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. These are the irritations that rub into a pearl. So we can talk a while, but then we must listen the way rocks listen to the sea. And we can churn at all that goes wrong, but then we must lay all distractions down and water every living seed. And yes, on nights like tonight, I too feel alone, but seldom do I face it squarely enough to see that it is a door into the endless breath that has no breather, or into the surf that human shells call God. There's a richness in that poem. Jan?
Absolutely. One of my favorites, and I love Mark Nepo. So we're going to move into a short meditation. So find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down. Allow your body to settle. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely. And exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel free to let your eyes gently close. Rest your hands where they feel comfortable, relaxed. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your body, grounding you into this moment. This is your time to pause, to reflect, and to open yourself to the opportunities that each moment holds. Bring your attention to your breath and notice its natural rhythm. The inhale and the exhale. There's no need to change or control it. Simply observe. With each inhale, invite in curiosity and openness. And with each exhale, let go of distraction or tension. Feel your breath anchoring you here, reminding you that this moment matters. Imagine for a moment you are walking through a beautiful forest. The air is fresh. The sunlight filters gently through the leaves. And each step feels purposeful, yet effortless. As you walk, notice a tree ahead with its roots deeply grounded and its branches reaching toward the sky. Pause here for a moment. The tree represents the present moment, a place where you are rooted and where possibilities and opportunities extend in all directions. Now imagine the branches of this tree, the many choices and opportunities available to you. Some are small, subtle, like tender new buds. Others are strong and bold, like fully grown branches. And then there is the trunk, stable and strong. Take a moment, notice which ones draw your attention, and ask yourself, what opportunities present for me right now? How can I lean into this moment with intention and curiosity? If I say no to one path, what what might I be saying yes to instead? As you reflect, remind yourself that every decision, every pause, and every action creates a ripple of opportunity. Even standing, still grounded and rooted, resting is a part of the journey. Bring your awareness to the center of your chest, the heart center, and silently repeat this affirmation. I trust that every moment holds an opportunity for growth, connection, or discovery. I choose to embrace the present moment with an open heart. I trust that every moment holds an opportunity for growth, connection, or discovery. I choose to embrace the present with an open heart. Take a few deep breaths, gently bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle fingers and toes, feeling the energy returning to your body. And when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes. Notice how you feel. Carry this sense of openness and curiosity with you, knowing that every moment truly matters and is filled with infinite possibilities.
That was lovely, Jan. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We truly appreciate each and every one of you and your shares. Please, if you're not connected to Mary Jane and I on Facebook and LinkedIn, feel free to please connect. We would love those personal connections. And also, please take a moment to join our LinkedIn and Facebook groups, Spirit-Born Imaginings, which is a really great community where we share inspiration, community, and nurturing environment. We try to highlight our members and celebrate each and every one of you. Our next workshop is All You Need Is Love. What a great title, I have to say. On Sunday, February 9th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registration is now open. Also, Mary Jane and I released our workshop schedule for 2025. So we have 8 workshops, online workshops we're doing. A few might be, hopefully, are in person. So we might be together for the first time since we've actually never met. Yeah, I know, that'll be loads of fun. We have packages of those workshops, 2 different packages, or you can take advantage, which are actually very cost effective, or you could, just take one workshop if that resonates with you. What else? Trying to think. We have now, since we're recording these, we've now set up a YouTube channel. So feel free to please subscribe. We would love to have you do that. If you want to revisit the audios, the recordings, they'll be up there. We also have all the member highlights that we've done since we started Spirit-Born Imaginings. So maybe watch some of those and learn about some of the other members in the community. And many blessings to you all, and have a great weekend.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mary Jane and Jan. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck, together.
Okay. Take care, Matthew.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. I'll be in touch. I have something I want to mention to you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Mary Jane, I've sent you a DM. I'll send you a link here to my LinkedIn if you'd like to connect with me.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I just noticed that. Thank you. I will do that.
Have a lovely weekend, guys. Thank you, Jan.
Thank you.
Bye,
Take care,
everyone.
Sarah. Have a good weekend.
You too. Cheers. Bye.